Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Naturally Beautiful and Optimal Wellness Summit. I am your host. My name is Elizabeth Engen. We are brought to you by Empower You, Jenny Halligan. And today I love our guest. Last but not least, her name is Rosalyn Fung. She is a self-care coach, self-love coach, pardon me, and registered psychologist. Welcome, Rosalyn. Good to see you.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about your summits and wow, save the best for last, right? All love.
Well, yeah, I say that a lot. My birthday is the last day of May, so I say that a lot.
Nice.
So it's so good to see you. I'm so sorry that I flubbed up at the beginning. She's an amazing lady, and I can't wait to kind of get into it with her. She works with her clients about body image, and we're going to be talking today about what you eat, how it affects the relationship you have with your body and your body image. Is that right, Rosalyn?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? You didn't really flub up because self-love actually really starts with self-care. And it's really all about learning how to put yourself there as a priority. So many times, especially women, we tend to put ourselves last. And I like to use the analogy of, when you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask comes down, we're taught to put it on ourselves before we put it on our loved ones, our kids, and it makes sense because what good would we be if we are passed out, right? And so I really see that life is analogous to this. It's put that oxygen mask on first, nourish yourself so that you can really be much more present with your loved ones and in all the areas of your life. So you didn't flip up at all. Self-care is
so glad. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge part of my work is helping women really learn how to take care of themselves, nourish their mind, their body, and their spirit.
Excellent. So I've been asking all of our guests, Rosalyn, I would like to hear your beautiful answer to this. What does optimal wellness mean to you?
I love that question. So for me, I really see that life is all about evolving. And so personal development, personal growth in mind, body, and spirit, continuing to stay open as a student of life is something that's very integral as part of my own health and mind, body, and soul. And I just see that this is why I love the work that I do, is because it's personal development that's going to help you open and awaken and be an even better version of yourself in the most authentic way in all realms.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. So now, to those that are new to you, that don't know you on our summit, that are watching,
yeah,
do you work with people that have had eating disorders, or who do you typically work with?
I actually work with people who have disordered eating. So as a registered psychologist, there is lots of times we do deal with clinical issues. I tend to attract people who, like if there's a spectrum of just disordered eating, you're not really happy with your relationship with food, whatever that looks like, mild to a little bit more moderate to severe. And then on the severe end, at the end of the other spectrum is the clinical eating disorders, where there's actual criteria to meet to be diagnosed with an eating disorder. I tend to work more with people in here. That's my passion. And I really love working with people who binge eat. I really love working with people who are chronic dieters or yo-yo dieters, and they're so sick and tired of dieting. They just want to feel freedom with food. I love working with women who are struggling with body image. And it doesn't actually matter what shape or size or weight you're at. Body image is about how you perceive yourself and also how you sense and feel in your body. So do you feel like you walk like an elephant, that you're heavy, that maybe you perceive yourself, even though society may see you may have an ideal body type, you may perceive yourself as very different versus how other people see you. And so that's actually part of my journey. I was a chronic and yo-yo dieter, always trying to perfect my body. I got to the point where on these diets, I would, I ended up binge eating because I was like, oh, we're having a cheat meal. I can eat anything I want. Calories don't count. And so just would gorge on like peanut butter and cookies and chips and anything that diets wouldn't allow me to eat. And so I spent most of my early adulthood chronically dieting, and pushed my body in 2008 to do a bodybuilding figure competition. So here I am in a fitness model body and physique, and I felt like a complete prisoner in it. I was constantly anxious about food. How many calories can I eat? When can I eat? I was always thinking about it. I was so hungry. If I ate something that I wasn't supposed to, how I would beat myself up. I would feel guilty. Then I would punish myself by over-exercising. So I knew that having this perfect body wasn't the answer to happiness, and it absolutely wasn't the answer to loving myself as a whole person. And so from that perspective, I was a therapist then. Never thought it would work in the area of food and body image issues, right? But it's interesting because you learn what you need to eventually teach. And at the point, I have a marriage and family therapy background, so I worked, and I still do sometimes work with families and couples. And at the time, I was learning about a method that I'm certified in now called Haikomi. And what it means is, how do I stand in relationship with myself? And how do I stand in relationship with others? Because if you think about it, we're always in relationships. And Haikomi is a very powerful approach. It's a mindfulness approach based on neuroscience. What it looks like is when, our bodies cannot tell the difference between thinking about something stressful versus being there. And so when my clients are sharing their story, at some point, I just drop the content and have them go into mindfulness. So we're studying sensations, tension, emotions that arise. And what we're really doing is we're studying how the body participates, because it just thinks the stress is happening, right? So how does it participate in this stressful situation? And from there, I can help identify limiting core beliefs, which are often unconscious, such as I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not valuable, and like, of course, limiting core beliefs then drive us to live in patterns that don't serve us. And my job is then to also help clients shift and move into a more expansive place in mind, body, and spirit, so that even though aspects of the outside may not change of the problem, how the client starts to feel about it, think about it, approach it really shifts, because you're just in a very different, more expansive, authentic space. So it's very powerful, transformative work. And of course, as a therapist, coach, just working through my own, like learning about it, you cannot not work your own stuff, right? So a lot of healing for me, a lot of understanding that I was valued in performance, and I'm a recovered perfectionist. So just really like learning that I am enough, and that I am valued in my beingness. So that is something I fully embrace and I fully live today. Yeah.
I love that. I guess I need that to recover from perfectionism myself.
We can chat later.
So
it's not a bad thing. It's I don't look at things as bad or good. It's more about hey, how does this pattern serve me? Because sometimes it probably does, right? Like it probably really serves when in your career to help you be successful, but it's also bringing in balance. When do I notice I need to like pull back from this pattern? So, yeah.
Absolutely, says the psychologist. So I'm interested in hearing, because I've kind of had my own struggles with, and this has to do personally with me, more of my hormones.
Yeah.
But for you, when you were kind of, you said when you were kind of yo-yo dieting,
Yeah.
you felt always hungry. Now, is that because you weren't eating the foods or the nutrition that your body needed? Why do you believe that you always felt hungry?
Well, yes, I think partly that was true. Unfortunately, I was being trained by somebody who I believe wasn't quite educated in how food can affect hormones. So that was part of it. But of course, I see that as a gift because that led me in my journey. And the other piece is psychological. So when we are on a diet, and we're following a certain way of eating, if now I'm not against diets, but it's more about the approach to how you're approaching food. Are you approaching food with fear? Are you fearing gaining weight? Are you fearing overeating? Are you fearing eating the foods that you really see as forbidden because you'll just end up binge eating on them? You'll feel like I'll never be able to eat these again. That's approaching food with fear. And of course, then that's also attached to how is this going to impact my body? So fear of fat, fear of gaining weight, fear of not fitting in clothes, fear of basically being out of control. And so dieting is about being rigid and in control. So what happens is when you're telling yourself, no, I can't eat this. No, I can't eat that. No, 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 no. The human brain goes, eventually it goes, screw this. I'm totally going to go on this side and just, right, gorge. So it's just keeps us contracted and small, if you will. And just so obsessed with what I can eat, what I can't eat. And it plays a lot of psychological games, right? So when I step out of my diet and I eat something that's not on my foods that I'm allowed to eat, I'm a bad girl, right? And I start to punish myself. God, I have no willpower. Oh, I'm so weak. Oh, no wonder I'm not losing weight, right? And this creates more stress. This is called self-imposed stress. Feeling guilty about eating that cookie, or really you like try to keep that cookie away, but you can't stop thinking about it. This creates stress. Again, your body can't tell the difference between thinking about something stressful versus being there. So it's about moving into a place where you can approach food with love. And some people are like, I don't know what that means because I love food. But there's also the duality, right? With loving food, there's also a hating relationship if you're coming from that place of fear, like lack of control in food. It feels like food has control over you. Whereas when you're approaching food with love, it's normal eating. I eat when I'm hungry. I eat when I'm full. And I just move on. Sometimes I might eat this cookie because it's fresh out of the oven, even if I'm not super hungry, but I know it tastes really good right now versus maybe a little bit later because it's fresh. And no guilt about that. It's just emotional neutrality, and you're enjoying it, you're savoring it, and then you finish it and you move on. You don't keep ruminating about, oh my gosh, my calories was that. Oh, I feel so guilty. I need to go now work out. Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's an inner peace about food and knowing that food no longer has control over you.
Absolutely. And so where would you start with a person? Because it seems like there's so many factors and it would seem complicated. So where would you start? Like what, I mean, is there a certain, I'm sure every person's different, but is there a
Yes.
certain regimen to, or kind of an, I don't want to say outline, but certain way you work with people or what you
Yeah,
work on?
I would get a baseline where they're at with food. Oftentimes there's two reasons why people emotionally eat. One is more of a physiological or physical reason. So if we're so busy in life, we're actually not eating enough calories during the day. And we're not eating and nourishing our bodies with proper nutrition, vitamins, minerals, macronutrient balance, so balance of lean proteins, healthy carbs, healthy fats, lots of veggies and fruit. Many times, a lot of my clients, they may not be eating at regular, we call this eating rhythm, regular intervals. And so it's checking into that first, because oftentimes binge eating happens because of irregular eating patterns, right? You don't eat, and then all of a sudden you're like snacking through the day. And usually if we're snacking through the day, it's not on foods that are very filling nutritionally. So our bodies may actually be deprived of those nutrients. So then I'm like, of course you would emotionally eat. You're hungry. A lot of times the vulnerable times to binge is at night after work. Oh, I get to relax. Now, if that's already happening, we make sure they are eating enough food for their body and their goals. Then if that's all happening, but the emotional eating is going on, and they know they're eating the foods that don't really support their body, they know that they're actually not hungry and they're just stress eating, for example, then we work on the emotions. Food and body image issues are just a doorway in to deeper aspects of ourselves. So food is a symbolic substitute to dealing with deeper rooted issues. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. To me, it sounds like it would be a very long process.
It actually doesn't. Like, it's pretty amazing and quick how clients make those shifts when I'm coaching them. I had a client recently. She was a binge eater every single day for I would say for quite a few years. And as soon as we started working together, and she was ready to let go and dive in deeper. We gave strategies on how to soothe herself without food. And I want to say a side note is that I don't believe that emotional eating is bad. It's not a bad thing. We eat when we're hungry. We eat when we're mad. We eat when we're sad. We eat when we're angry, anxious. But we also eat when we're happy, and we eat to celebrate. So of course we emotionally eat. What the real issue is the dose. If I'm turning to food to cope with my emotions more than half the time, that's going to have some detrimental impacts on your health, my mind, body, and soul, right? And so it's going, yeah, you can turn to food, and I show clients how, but let's look at opening this tool belt and see what other things you could do first to soothe yourself. Food issues are never about food. It's about emotionally regulating yourself. And underneath that is the core beliefs. Often it's, I'm not enough, right? And so let's look at some tools to support you, soothe and calm your emotional brain, because you cannot be emotional and logical at the same time. So when we're emotional brain sits back here. It's like, it's on fire, right? And logic is out the window. So it's about bringing calm so that logic can come back to help you feel more grounded. So that was my little sidetrack, but coming back, okay, so creating that really, really helps people. And then being a coach, people feel like I'm right there beside them. So there's that accountability to support them in their process, which is so fun. I love it. And so then we do a little bit of the deeper work. And so this client, she slowed down her binge eating within 2 days, and within 2 weeks, totally stops binge eating. It was incredible. Incredible.
That is incredible. You're a miracle worker.
It's a co-creation, right? I can only do my part, and the other person, it's up to them to be open and receiving, and it's collaboration as well. I think it's really important that I honor the person and honor who they are. And for me, I work very strength-based, so I'm really listening for people's strengths when they're telling me their stories, because I'll go, we'll use this. If you really love, for example, dancing, I have dancers that come see me, and in that world, there's a lot of food and body issues, right? And so it's going, okay, you know what does dancing give you? It gives me release. It gives me movement. I feel so much lighter after I dance. Beautiful. That can be a thing that they can start to do instead of turning to food. So they start to approach the relationship with food differently and even see their strengths with different new eyes. It's really, really incredible. Yeah.
Well, that is incredible. And we only have so much time left, but here, there's two things I heard you say that I want you to talk about. Number one, it sounds like receiving is very, very important. And I've been hearing that a lot lately in the last couple of weeks in my world about receiving it. Receiving is number one. And then also I want to hear more about kind of the common core limiting beliefs, because I think if people hear more about kind of what they are, they might be able to, work with them.
Can I actually start with this latter question, the core belief?
Yeah.
And then I'll go into the receiving, because I think it'll make a little bit more sense. So common core beliefs. So I'll even explain how core beliefs get developed. So when we are born into the world as infants, we mostly live in our primitive brain. This is our survival brain, and it sits right back here. It's our brainstem. And this is the part of us that goes into fight, flight, or freeze when we are stressed. And we also live mostly in our limbic brain. That's our emotional brain. So these two brains are unconscious, or parts of the brain, I should say. And then this is our logical, it just sits right here. And it's our higher executive logical conscious brain. And as infants, as toddlers, we're beginning to, because this part's still developing, the logical, we mostly live here. And when we get born into the world, we are in our family system, we're watching how the people interact with each other as well as with us. And we're making meaning about different themes in the world. Love, safety, belonging, boundaries, sexuality, money, power, how do we cope with stress, whatever there is. And we have no idea on the spectrum of healthy to unhealthy where our family sits. We just go, oh, this is the way the world is. And again, this is unconscious, right? So we start to form core beliefs. Now, nothing is ever direct. Nothing's, there's always multiple factors that create that. But I'm gonna, for example, say keep it very simple and say, let's say a child gets 98% on a test and they're so excited, right? And they're sharing with their parents, and the parents are like, what happened to the 2%, right? They're focused on what didn't happen. And so let's say this keeps happening as a pattern. And what will that child eventually believe? I'm not good enough, right? And so we go into actions to support those core beliefs. If I'm not good enough, I'm going to overachieve. I'm going to become a perfectionist, which is often black and white thinking, all or nothing. Sometimes it can go the opposite direction, which is like you just give up. You just feel defeated. It's like, whatever, I'm just gonna rebel. I'm no good anyway. Who I tend to attract more are the people who are perfectionists. And so from here, it can go into body image stuff. So that's how core beliefs form. And then when we get triggered, We don't get, any event is neutral until we put meaning to it. And how we do that is based on our core beliefs. And so when we get triggered, we dive into this place, we see the world from that place, and we go into our automatic reactions. And so it's like this, I don't look at these as bad things. It's more looking at like the brilliance of it. This was a life jacket you created to help you survive. However, now, does it still fit? Probably not. So we need to look at how to shift that. So that's how core beliefs form. And often it's, I'm not good enough, I'm not valuable, the world is not safe, conflict is not safe. That's where people pleasing comes in. And so when it comes to receiving is really about, there's so many directions I can go, but I'll stay with this. So when we get triggered, instead of diving into this place and seeing the world from a place, it's having that third eye, the observer hat. And so this in itself doesn't make you feel better. So let's say I get triggered into anxiety. This helps me put a pause button on so that I don't dive deep into there. It's going, okay, how am I, it's noticing without judgment. How am I feeling right now? And in so many ways, if you've ever heard of inner child or wounded self, that's what this is that's the wounded self. And so it's noticing as if it's your own child, own little girl inside, and just noticing, how is she feeling right now? How's this little girl in me feeling right now? She's sad, she's feeling lonely, she's feeling bored, she's feeling angry. So it's honoring your emotions and holding space. Lots of us tend to push this part of us away. We hate this part of us. But self-love is holding space for this part of us, our shadow self, our wounded self. And the bigger part of us, which is our more developed adult brain, and our ability to be able to hold space and love, that's what we need to invite into this process. It's going, I see my young self, and it's regulating that, breathing and holding space, receiving love, right? Receiving love for yourself, generating it and holding it, rather than beating yourself up, dieting harder, going to over-exercise. Can you feel that energy is really different? Yeah, it's holding space, it's having self-compassion, so it's receiving. I like to say this is nourishment for our mind, body, and soul. Anything that invites joy, invites love, invites compassion, empathy, and for ourselves. We need to receive that nourishment in order to heal. The more we resist, the more it persists, right? And so it's really holding space instead.
You are so fantastic. I've learned so much and taken so many notes.
Great. I'm glad it was valuable.
So we are almost all out of time, but I would like you to share with us, Rosalyn, where people can find you. I know you have certain gifts on your website, so please tell us what your website is and all that.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm founder of Holistic Body Love, and my website is holistic with an H, bodylove.com. And I have tons of freebies. If you want to learn more about how to break free from food and body image stuff, check out my freebies link. And there's lots of gifts that you can see there. There's more videos of me sharing more information, and I've got lots of e-guides. So I just really love sharing and serving. Yes, I also have a self-love course that is happening now, and that is under my online courses that you can check out. It's called Happy, Healthy, and Whole in Mind, Body, and Soul. So we're cultivating a loving relationship with food, positive body image, self-care in regards to time management, setting boundaries, and relationship with money. There's lots of there's lots of stories around money shame, and I want to help people heal that too. Money is a currency of love, and I want to help people see that and really embrace it. So I look forward to connecting with your viewers. Thank you very much.
Rosalyn, you've just been fantastic, and I've learned so much. And if you all have loved what Rosalyn has shared, please subscribe to our channel. And again, this is the Naturally Beautiful and Optimal Wellness Summit. We've loved serving all of you, and along with Rosalyn. And thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.